What is up, everyone? Welcome to Nickel City Mafia, the Rush Hour Wednesday edition. Jake, this could be the Super Bowl preview. I know it's what you want, it's what I want, it's what a lot of fans want. Two franchises trying to get their first Super Bowl. This could be the preview. We're going to get into that right after this. Woo, baby, Jake. We got the big one, the Clash of the Titans this week. Oh my goodness. I've been looking at this one since early in the year, had it circled. But before we get into the Clash of the Titans, Jake, I got to get your take on this game against the Rams. I know you and I didn't have a chance to really talk about it, so give me your breakdown. I mean, should I be concerned? This defense, the special teams, is this an anomaly? I don't know. Give me your take, sir.
You know what? I look to a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know the Bills aren't the same team as the Pittsburgh Steelers, but their coaches are kind of similar, right? Dating all the way back to their college years, they were college teammates. But you look at what the Steelers defense has done this year and how effective they've been. Well, guess what? When they went up against the Bengals a couple weeks ago, they allowed 38 points with them too. I mean, they still won the game, but at the same time, I think every team is due for an off week, right? And we really haven't had an off week with the defense per se, really since the Baltimore game. And, there were feelings early on in this Rams game last week where it was like eerily similar to Baltimore. But the one encouraging thing was that this offense stuck it out and they came to play. And really, I think if that timeout doesn't become a thing at the end of the game, we go, another 3 and out. We stop them, run, timeout, timeout, timeout. We're going to win this ball game, So, sure, I understand the concern. You're first off, you lose 2 guys in Taylor Rapp and Rasul Douglas, who are both on the injury report right now. Not sure what the status is going to be for Sunday for them. Doesn't look great. They both haven't practiced, I don't think, this entire week yet. So that'll be something to monitor. But, I think this was one of those games where, you're glad it happened now because, we still have 5 weeks left, right? So, or 4 weeks left. I'm sorry.
Well, after this, it's 4 weeks.
Right. Right. And it'll be more. It will be 5 technically. Because of the playoffs,
exactly.
But, I think this was a kind of a more of a humbling game, right? And, as encouraged as you are because of the offense, you are a little discouraged from what the defense was able to do. And there just wasn't a whole lot of great takeaways from the defensive line, especially winning the line of scrimmage. And really, when that doesn't click, everything else becomes exposed, right? Even our linebacker play was not that great. So, obviously a little discouraged, but I think the Bills are going to get right this week. I think Bobby Babbitt is going to have them all lined up, ready to go for this Detroit game. And, we were due for a game like this. I hate to say that. I hate saying that we're due for something like this, but I'm glad that it happened now. We're going to get out of the way. And I think we're going to give Detroit a run for their money. And I think we're winning that ball game, Mike. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah. Hi, Big Al. Good to see you out there in the chat. He says Douglas was awful.
Yeah,
and he says Oliver who. So, Jake, I was never worried about a team lighting us up. I thought our corners were solid all year. They have been Benford and then Rasul Douglas. We were giving up a lot of yards on the ground, which I did expect. They have a good running game. I don't think there was anyone who's going to beat the Rams that night. They played a perfect game. But, dude, when you give up Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp alone had 17 catches combined or like 254 yards, there was nothing we could seemingly do against that duo, especially Puka. I do feel like, I don't know, give me your take on this. I guess they were lining up Puka in the slot, but you got Taron Johnson, who we love, right? Great slot corner, but he's much shorter. And Puka and Cooper are probably 2 of the best hands in the game, right? If they get their hands on it, they're not dropping the ball. And I feel like there was a little bit of a mismatch against Taron Johnson a few times when he had to take on Puka. But dude, there was no stopping him. And this was one area of our defense, and we can't even say man, we were banged up. We're the healthiest we've been in probably 2 years on that defense, right? And so we can't even use that as an argument. But what happened? Was it the scheme? I mean, I get it. We play a lot of zone, and according to Tom Brady, Matt Stafford tears that up. But it wasn't a good day. It wasn't a good look for Douglas, especially. And I think Benford had a couple nice breakups. But all in all, our corners, who I feel like is one of the best that we have on our defense, just kind of let us down, man. So that scares me. And now we come, to the best offense this week in the league. But talk to me about Douglas. And I know Douglas is injured. We don't know it's gonna. He could play. We got to wait till a little bit later in the week. Um, but dude, I mean, what happened?
Yeah, I think it was really a chain reaction. I feel like just right from the get go, our defensive line didn't really show up. I mean, they were getting absolutely dominated. There really wasn't a guy that I mean, the pass rush was non-existent. And I get at a certain point in the game when you're down, you can't really pin your ears back. You got to be careful. You got to play contain at times too. But the interior specifically, I think it has been somewhat of a concern this year, specifically with the running game. And other weeks the linebacker play has been so good that it kind of overshadows the lack of interior pressure and gap, just being straight with your gaps and being honest with your gaps. This past week it was bad. I mean, that Rams offensive line, we made them look like they were a top 3 offensive line in the NFL. And I felt like coming into that game, the Bills D line was going to have themselves a day, and it just wasn't that way whatsoever. So and I think from that point on, it was just sort of a chain reaction. And when you try to run zone against the Rams and a veteran quarterback, a potential future Hall of Fame quarterback, by the way, and Matt Stafford,
Yes.
who I think is tremendously underrated, has always been a really, really good player. With those weapons, it's just not going to work. And I'll be honest with you, some of those catches that those guys made were just elite. I mean, there was nothing more you could do. I mean, you think of the Puka Nakua catch on the sidelines, like you can't really cover that any better than what we did. So there were a few instances like that. But I did feel like the corner play, obviously we got bullied a little bit and it was exposed at times. But that's what happens when everything doesn't click. It's each level clicking and working together to make the other level better, if that makes sense. And it really starts up front. And when we weren't able to get any pass rush and bait them into essentially making mistakes, you're going to get torched. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because like you said, the Puka catch around on the sideline was fantastic. Not only did he have to go high, kept his toes in bounds, and then even the Rasul Douglas, where Cooper caught that touchdown,
Yeah, I
Douglas
mean,
was on him,
what are you
and
going to do?
Cooper just held on to it. Um, One thing that worries me, and it almost feels like we're used to getting turnovers. We're the top turnover differential team. We're tied with Pittsburgh now. It's plus 17, and we didn't get any turnovers. And it's like, man, are we going to have to depend on turnovers to win these type of games? Um, but I also think, like you said, no pressure from our defense. But guess what? The top pressure team in the league supposedly was the Rams. Our O line did a fantastic job. So
They did.
from an offensive standpoint, I didn't think we'd have. I was concerned about a game like this. Are we ever going to have a shootout and have to? I don't know if we're built for it, but dude, we were more than built for it. Josh Allen being the first person ever to have 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns in the same game.
It's
History,
insane.
back to back weeks was incredible. And yet it was spoiled by this game. But again, like I said earlier, I don't know if anyone could have beat the Rams that night. Matthew Stafford and the coaching staff, they had that team just ready to go. It was a perfectly played game. And you don't get any pressure, what's going to happen with Matt Stafford? And you're playing a soft zone, gonna tear you up all day. But it was very I was very optimistic after seeing what we did on offense. But anyhow, defense, take your word for it, Jake. With a little bit of an anomaly there. We were due for a little. You hate to say that, like you said, but we'll see because we're gonna get tested again this week. Clash of the Titans, Super Bowl preview, Jake. Super Bowl preview. Bills travel to Detroit. Dude, I mean, you want to talk about the top offense in the league? This is it. So you got a little bit of a taste with the Rams. When they're healthy and they have all their weapons, they're right up there. But this
Yep.
team's even better, Jake. They got weapons everywhere: tight end, running backs, receivers. Talk to me. Give me your take on this game, buddy.
Yeah, they're loaded. I mean, you look at every single position group that they have an absolute stud at least one of those positions. It's crazy. I mean, um, there's a reason why they're 12-1, right? And you look at their games, half of those games were one-score games, which is really interesting to me. Like seven of those games that they've won have been one-score games. The other half have been complete blowouts. So they're not afraid to run the score up on you. Um, and they do have a really, really probably the best 1-2 punch for running backs in the NFL. So I think that's the number one concern for me is obviously, playing better in the interior and just run defending and gap integrity. That's going to be extremely important this week because they will tear you apart. As far as the zone defense goes for us, yeah, they also have weapons too that can catch the football. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is a really, really good receiver, an elite receiver in the NFL. You got Jamison Williams, who is a young up-and-coming player. And then Tim Patrick out of nowhere, who's
Yeah.
been really injured the last 3 seasons, but catches 2 touchdown passes last week against Green Bay. Big receiver, finds a way to get open. Not the sexiest player in the world, but he just gets it done. And don't forget Sam Laporta, who was really was a top 5 tight end, arguably, coming into this year, even as a rookie last year. So it's, they got weapons across the board. He is having more of a down year, I will say, Sam Laporta, but don't sleep on him. This is a game where he could start to take advantage a little bit and kind of rejuvenate his numbers and rejuvenate his season a little. So I think, I think discipline is extremely important. I think Bobby Babich has really done a good job all year up until that Rams game of keeping his defense sharp and making those second half adjustments. It just didn't seem like we had an answer for the Rams. So that's going to be really important in this game because they are going to score some points. I mean, it's pretty much inevitable, that is really going to be the biggest question mark is whether this defense can stay in the game with this Detroit offense, So I am a little worried, but I'll tell you what, our offense can score points too. And at the end of the day, if our defense could just make like 2 more stops than they did in that Rams game, we will win.
I love that, Jake. I love it. So let's go over their schedule a little bit, right? So they opened their season against the Rams and they beat the Rams 26-20 at home. Close game.
Yep.
Then they go, they're at home against the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers hand them their only loss in week 2. They play the Cardinals in Arizona, and they beat the Cardinals only by 7, 20-13. Close game. Then they put a whooping on the Seahawks at home, 42-29. Seahawks, very good team. We played them this year as well. Then they, of course, they traveled to Dallas, up on the Cowboys, 47-9. They take on the Vikings. That game was a great game. I think it was at the end of the game they pulled it out, or
Yep.
something crazy happened there. It was Lions 31, Vikings 29. Close game there. Then they take on the Titans and literally blow the wheels off that game with a 52-14 whooping on the Titans. They then go to Green Bay, play the Packers pretty tough, 24-14. They get the victory. Play the Titans, not the Titans, the Texans. And that was a close game in Houston, 26-23. The Lions come away with a win there. So again, and then they play Jaguars, put a whooping on them, 52-6. Play the Colts, 24-6. Play the Bears, and the Bears played a tough game. Almost pulled this one out. Lions 23 at home, Bears 20. And then last week at home against the Packers, another tough game, 34-31. So it gives me hope. They're not blowing everybody out, and there's a lot of close games here. And the fact that the Bears held them to 23 points, the Packers held them to 31, and the Texans held them to 26 gives me a lot of hope, Jake.
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely. I mean, don't sleep on their defense, although they do they give up some points. They got some ball hawks on that defense. Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, that might be the best safety duo in the NFL right now. I mean, they're absolutely killing it this year. So I think Kirby Joseph has a league-leading 7 interceptions. Him and Xavier McKinney both tied for the league lead in interceptions. But I'll tell you what, I think, just with how we performed last week, I can see us easily dropping 30+ on this team. Now, where you have to be careful is they're similar to the Bills where they'll bait you. I mean, they'll let you go downfield. They'll give up a lot of total yards, but they get turnovers in the red zone. So you got to be careful. We've been very good with our red zone offense, but this is going to be a really good test for us. Now, it is nice they are missing Aiden Hutchinson, right? But I think even without him, they found ways to win games, and I think they lost their interior guy McNeil as well, which he was playing really, really well this season. So I don't know if he's done for the year or not, but they still got some dogs on that D line. They could still ball a little bit. So, and your boy Mike Jack Campbell, we finally get to see him up
Jack
close and
Campbell.
personal. Going to be interesting.
Yeah, I was checking him out on PFF. He's having a really good year. Just to give some stats, you'll find this interesting. So Detroit's the number one in points per game. They're scoring 32.1, and they're second in total yards per game. Guess who's number two in points per game? The Buffalo Bills at 30.5. Buffalo is number 10 in total yards per game. So they're second in total yards per game. We're 10th. On the defensive side of things, they're tied for number 2 in points per game. Buffalo Bills, they're at number 8 in points per game at 20.6. Lions giving up an average of 18. Let's see here. I'm sorry. No, that was the offense. The defense is giving up, they're 10th in yards per game, giving up 318.6 yards per game. Bills are giving up 332 yards per game. Detroit's tied for 7th in turnover differential. You're talking about those turnovers. They're +8. The Buffalo Bills +17, like I said earlier. Lead in the pack, tied with Pittsburgh. So Big L saying we have to run the ball, period. But give me how are we going to beat this team? What do we got to do, Jake, to beat this team? You're the coach this week. You're scheming it up. You're in there with the players. You're in there with Babbage, McDermott, and Brady. What are we going to do to beat this team?
Honestly, it sounds kind of cliche, but pass rush and turnovers. I mean, when you look at that Buccaneers game that they lost, Jared Goff didn't throw any touchdown passes. He did throw for over 300 yards, but he threw 2 interceptions. And then I believe for rushing stats, like they did allow Jahmyr Gibbs to have like 84 yards rushing. They let up 1 rushing touchdown, but the Lions only scored 16 points in that game. They played a very bend, don't break type of game, the Buccaneers. I think they still let up. Like I said, it was like over 400-something yards of total offense. But with that being said, they made them pay their dues. And, I think this week it's a good opportunity. I don't know if Dwayne Smoot is going to be activated off of the IR list or not, but I saw that he was a full practice guy, and there were some other guys. Balin Spector was another guy too, full practice. So I'm encouraged. Hopefully we get someone back defensively to, obviously kind of alleviate some of the other guys that have gone out. I know they're secondary guys, but it would be nice to get guys up front that are returning from injury. If not, I think guys like Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, the interior guys, specifically the interior guys, they're going to have to get some penetration here, because I'll tell you what, they will take advantage of us. Pass rush is going to be extremely important, and you got to get some turnovers in this one.
Yeah, in that game that you were talking about there, it was like you said, the Buccaneers gave up over 400 yards. There was 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions thrown by Goff, and Baker Mayfield had thrown 1. But it was such a huge disparity between total yards, like you said, bend but don't break in full force there. Yep. Good to see you out there, Tom. And he said, we can't possibly be mad about how many TDs we had. No, 42. We're kind of past that game last week. But yes, you dropped 6 touchdowns, and you lose because your defense and your special teams. The difference in the game was that punt return, right? That was the difference. We gave up 35 points on defense and 7 points on a block punt. Good to see you out there, Weston. Yes, I heard both Kincaid and Coleman practice in full. It'll be nice to get those guys back this week. You talked about Laporta being down a little bit this year, and I think it's because, similar to Kincaid, he's been dinged up. He's been dinged up this year. But, I was talking to our friend Sean this morning about Kincaid, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not saying bust. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying big disappointment. Most likely probably of how we're just, everybody eats. This whole thing has been actually a real thing. We're not just feeding the ball to one person. But, man, I got to say, Kincaid, I expected a lot more going his way. And then also he's starting to show a little injury prone. I mean, he was injured last year. I think he missed at least 1 game. And now here he is. What he missed? 3 games so far?
Yeah,
I think so. This will be his 4th game. Um, but yeah,
I'll
those
tell
would
you
be.
what, though, there has been one consistent in that receiving game. We didn't even talk about this, Mike, but my gosh, Khalil Shakir, this
Yeah,
kid he is so freaking good at football. I mean, he is definitely a top 5 slot receiver at the very least in the NFL right now. I'm not saying he's like a top 5 receiver overall, but at least in the slot and from what he's been doing this year, the guy is unbelievable. He is everything we could have ever hoped for as a 5th round pick, totally outperforming his draft stock. And gosh, he has been definitely a consistent piece of this offense, and it's a guy that we can count on each week. And as far as fantasy goes, too, I mean, he's a double-digit fantasy guy, which is a beautiful thing to see.
yeah, he was on my fantasy team. He helped me out last week getting to the
Yep,
playoffs. But yeah, so Jake, you were talking about pressure. I don't see us getting much, honestly, unless
I
we're going
know
to
it's
try
tough.
to blitz. I mean, they have a
Hmm.
stellar offensive line. I'm looking at PFF here, and I don't know if I've ever seen a line have these scores. They got Sewell. This man, Penei Sewell, he's ranked at 88.5, which is
Jeez,
fourth overall right tackle. They've got might have a hard time with some of these names. You're always better with them. What is it? Zedier? Zedier?
Kevin Zeitler. Yep, Kevin
Zealer.
Zeitler.
Okay.
Yep,
Zealer, he's rated so 88.5. Dude, you just don't see these these scores.
that's
Um,
insane.
then the guard, would you say Zealer? He's a 90. Um, you've got Frank Ragnow at center.
He's been doing
Ragnow,
it for a lot of years. He's a
yeah,
really, really good
he's
player.
top guy, 86.6. Their only weakness, if you want to call it a weakness, is according to PFF, is Graham Glasgow. He's rated 59. And then their left tackle, Decker, is 73.8. So they got a stellar
So it's been,
offensive line.
I believe, so Taylor Decker's been injured. So they have Dan Skipper actually and Mike, who he's played for
Okay.
several teams in the league. I think he's been with Detroit like on several occasions. They cut him, brought him back, cut him, brought him back. He actually had that penalty last year. I believe it was in the playoffs where it was like he didn't report or something like that. It was something weird. It was against the Niners, I believe. But yeah, so Dan Skipper has been playing a lot of left tackle for them. Solid player, but I think that is a guy where we can expose a weakness there. I think you put him up against a guy like Greg Rousseau, he may take advantage of him. So that is maybe that's an area where we can, expose him a little bit. So if there's anywhere on that O line that we can, it's probably that left side.
Yeah, so you're right. If Skipper is playing, PFF has him at a 52.3. So potential weakness there. But I don't know how many times I've seen, the Bills going against a team where, they have their second stringer on the line. We're going to take advantage of that guy, and we don't.
I
We
know.
don't.
Miami last year, right?
Yeah, Miami.
Yeah.
Was it the Bengals
The
one time
Bengals
as well?
in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I don't know, but again, an elite O line. I think Goff's been sacked around 10 times, which is pretty darn good
It's
considering he's
really
not
good.
a very mobile quarterback. I think
Yeah.
Josh has been sacked 13 times on the year. So, and that's with Josh being able to escape a lot of things. That's pretty interesting there. But
How about this by Weston, by the
yep.
way? He said Khalil Shakir is the best slot receiver in the league, without a doubt. I love that. Absolutely love that. I mean, if you're talking true slot receiver, because there are guys like CeeDee Lamb lines up in the slot a lot. I mean, even Puka Nakua lines up in Cooper Cup. So it's hard to like judge him based upon those guys. But if you're talking just pure slot receiver, like listed as that on the depth chart, it might be Weston. I love that. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Go KU1. What a game against the Rams. Allen is the man. MVP. Getting the popcorn ready for Buffalo versus Detroit. Yeah, it's
Love it.
going to be an amazing game. And go KU1. You were the one, you're in a chat last week and you're like, this could be a trap game. I mean, this could be a trap game. You're coming off an extreme high, winning the AFC East. You're still fighting for that number one. You come to the West Coast against the Rams, and the Rams desperately needed to win, right? They're still in a dogfight to make the playoffs. You knew they were going to give you everything they had, and they certainly did. And then were you looking ahead a little bit? I'm not going to take anything away from the Rams because, like I said earlier, I don't think any team would have beat them that night at all.
I agree. And they're a well coached team too. You look at Sean McVay, Chris Shula, they got a young, good coaching staff, and they did a hell of a job against the Bills. I mean, really no answers for our offense, but they did enough on their side of the ball offensively to obviously win the game. So By the way,
Yeah.
go KU1. I have to say this. I know you're a Kansas fan. First time in a while, I think it was like consecutive games where a number one team had lost in men's basketball. I'm very sorry. I hate seeing that. I like Bill Self, big Bill Self fan. That's tough.
Big L's asking, will Hyde play this week? So he's on the practice squad, and I know Rap is dinged up a little bit. We won't know until a few more days whether he's actually going to play. Um, if he's in danger, if they think he's going to miss this week, I think they elevate Hyde. I think they
I think so
elevate him,
too.
Jake.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
don't know if he's ready. I don't know if
I
he's
don't think
ready to
he'd
be
start.
out on the field. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, we don't know
yeah,
that, right? What's he been doing his during
right.
his off time here? What's he been
And he
doing?
could
Staying in
very
shape?
well be. You just don't know. I mean, maybe taking a year off of football, half a year off of football at least, right? Maybe
Yeah,
that's the best thing for his body. Maybe he is in full play shape, like he's ready to go. You just don't know.
yeah. I mean, I think at the very least, having him there on a sideline, if we have to go with Cole Bishop, I don't know. I don't even know if Cole would start. They might put Cam Lewis back there for all I know. Like if Rap's not in there, who do you think they're going to put at safety?
That's a good question. I mean, Cam Lewis? Do you put Cam
That's what I'm
Lewis back
saying.
there?
Maybe
I
Cam
mean,
Lewis.
that's probably the player. By the way, D-Dunk, yes, good call. I mean, literally in this game, Amon-Ra St. Brown technically is a slot receiver. That's what he's listed as on their depth chart.
Yeah,
Very good point. Yeah, he definitely, bar none, is the best slot receiver. But I'll tell you what, Khalil Shakir, people were actually saying coming into this year that Khalil Shakir was a poor man's Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think he's a poor man's Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I do think, you know, I'm not saying he's at the same level, but I'm saying he's trending upwards. There's no doubt. But
yeah,
yes, good call on that.
yeah. Brown. I mean, he just want. I mean,
He's
he was a
unreal.
fourth round pick. I mean, I have him on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
He's been helping me out tremendously. But fourth round pick, I believe, and
Yep.
was
Yep.
Shakir was a fifth round pick. Yeah, Brown is a stud for sure,
He's legit.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a pro, is what Big L's saying.
Yeah.
All right, so Jake, we talked about some of the things that the Bills need to do, but I mean, talk to me. You're Babbage, you're McDermott. What's your game plan to get a few stops? You said, hey, if we can get a few stops, I mean, what, we only got one last week. We're going to need probably at least two.
Yeah.
Or
By the way,
hopefully
Mike,
more.
I don't know
Yeah,
why it escaped me, but
yeah.
listen, I totally forgot to mention my boy Cole Bishop as a possibility at safety, right? I mean, you
Well,
think about,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Like that's a player. I
He
just
could
thought about
start.
that and I'm like, I can't not say Cole
Yeah, yeah.
Bishop, right? So we'll go back to this other thought.
He
But yeah,
probably would start. I like the fact that Hyde is there, talking in his ear, like right
mhm,
if he has to get the start. Again, I don't know how serious Rap's injury is. Nothing's been said other than they didn't practice today. Okay,
right.
doesn't mean they won't start. I expect them. I expect him to play, and I'll say Russell Douglas. Not sure. It was something with his knee. I don't know if you heard more how bad it was. He didn't hurt it. He went out of the game, came back in, and apparently hurt it again. And I think it was more his feelings were hurt. Jake. It was just remember as a kid when you're getting beat by somebody and you're very and you're very competitive and you're like, oh man, I got injured. That's why I gave up the big play. Right? You come up with
Sometimes
an
guys do
excuse,
that.
Jake,
Yeah,
right?
sometimes guys do that. They'll drop a pass or something, then they'll pretend they tore their hammy or had a serious injury or something. That's why they dropped the pass. I don't know if that's the case in this one. I think the knee injury is definitely something to keep an eye out
Yeah,
on, but
I'm just
because he didn't
kidding. But
return actually.
no,
Yeah.
he did not. He did not. But his feelings were hurt for sure because he was
Oh,
getting torched
definitely.
that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talk to me. What are you gonna do, dude? I mean, the Rams were bad enough. You talked about all their weapons, Jake, and let me just reiterate those weapons real quick for the folks that are here on the channel here. Um, you got Patrick, right? Patrick is a undrafted free agent in 2017. He's been coming on. His offensive grade from PFF is 72. I always see him in the stat lines doing extremely well. Sam Laporta, um, another guy who's been injured this year, but dude, they no matter where they look, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs who can also catch the ball out of the backfield. They got two-headed beasts back there at running back. I don't know, man. If you're a defensive coordinator, Jake, talk to me what you're going to try to do.
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, you kind of look at I would it's interesting because their weapons are definitely better than what the Chiefs had, right? But I almost feel like you have to play them the same way because they have this really good tight end. So we shut down Travis Kelsey in that game. Noah Gray was the leader in receiving for them, I think, because even DeAndre Hopkins didn't have a day. But and I know, listen, again, Amon-Ra St. Brown, much better receiver than DeAndre Hopkins is right now, right? So, but you do have an elite receiver in him, right? You have Jamison Williams, your speed guy, Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs, right? So I'm just kind of comping these people, right? And then Tim Patrick is your, I don't know, Justin Watson or whatever. So it is. I think you almost have to play it in a similar fashion. Pressure. I want to see some more blitzing. I'm with you, Dad. I think blitzing is a good idea, And then I think you rotate the linebackers. I think you rotate Dorian Williamson every once in a while here, Mike. There were times last week where I saw Matt Milano, and I think he's still trying to get back to playing shape a little bit. He looks slow on a couple plays. Instincts are still definitely there. I think he can still play, obviously, but I think you rotate the linebackers a little bit. Keep the D-line fresh. I will say one thing that I noticed is when Von Miller is in the game, Greg Rousseau definitely is better on one side than the other. And when Von Miller comes in, Von always rushes from, I think it's the right side. And I don't know, for whatever reason, Groot struggles on the opposite side. But when Von is not in, Groot plays on the other side, and he's much better. So I don't know. I hate to say less Von Miller because I think he is trending upwards, but I want to see Groot have a monster day. I think when he has a good game, everything else, every other level of this defense plays better.
So Groot's typically playing on the left side, right?
It is the left side. Yeah. Okay. And when Von comes in, he goes to the right side. And for whatever reason,
I think they're trying to protect Von's, the torn ACL, right? I think it was on the right knee. So you want to have that push off on the left. But yeah, it'd be nice. I think Von, I've seen him rotate. I don't think he's always over there on the left, but yeah, I agree with you. Maybe if if he lets Groot on the left and Von could go over to right. I don't expect a ton of pressure. I don't. But I, like you said, if we can what we try to play all the time is bend but don't break. And we just didn't do a good job of that in the Rams game at all. Not one bit. So if we can limit them, they're going to march the ball down. They're going to be throwing the ball. And I think, to your point, who was asking the question about the 50 plus, go KU1. Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to a friend. I said, everyone's expecting this game. We're going to have a 50 something to 40 something, smash the over, and you watch. It'll be completely opposite. All of a sudden, the defenses will come to play. Long, sustained drives will keep the score down. We'll see. But if I'm a betting man, I'm smashing that over all day, Jake.
Oh, absolutely. What is it set at? Like 52.5 or something, 53.5?
I'll check that out while you answer, Mr.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Yeah, D-Dunk, you're absolutely right. That is really what it comes down to, too, is stopping the run. I think this interior D-line for the Bills has to step up. Really, I mean, when you look at all the games where the defense has been good, that interior D-line's played pretty well, and last week they were non-existent. So you gotta win the line of scrimmage, and especially against a team like this with literally, they call him Sonic and Knuckles, Jahmyr Gibbs, who has over 1,000 yards rushing. You have David Montgomery, who's got 10 plus touchdowns rushing and 771 rushing yards. Like, the guy is insane. They could also catch the ball out of the backfield too. But yeah, I think it really does come down to stopping the run, stopping their physical weapons first, and then taking care of their receiving options as well.
Oh, I am having a difficult time, Jake. Maybe you got a site that you can go check out the over today's game. Not much of a gambler, so I usually go to Vegas Insiders and check things out, but I'm having a hard time finding it. But yeah, if you don't stop the run, you won't stop the Lions. Don't stop the run. Yeah, that's a concern, D-Dunk. I mean, as Jake was saying, we've been giving up plenty of yards on the ground. That's why I was surprised in the Rams game. I expected them to run. Did I expect them to do what they did through the air? No. I mean, our corners had been so good. But we'll see if Russell Douglas is not in. And by the way, Jake, we finally got some word on Elam, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, when I saw Ingram in there, when he had to come in for Rasul, who got injured, I was like, why isn't Elam in this game? This is a game where you could utilize him. And for whatever reason, he's fallen out of good grace with the Buffalo Bills. Don't know what's happened, but I think Matt Perino from the Buffalo Shout podcast, who's actually a beat writer and was at the facility today, asked Sean that question: "What's going on with Elam?" And I think the words were he hasn't earned it,
Yeah.
or he hasn't earned, or other people have earned it over him. And I don't know, Jake. This is kind of like I feel like I don't know. I felt like he was going to come back with a vengeance this year. I really did. Whether he started or just was coming in for a depth piece, I thought he was going to come back with vengeance. And anytime he's been in, anytime in his career, he's made plays. He's got more interceptions than Sauce Gardner in his career. I mean, he's got like 4
I
interceptions.
know. It's
He's
crazy,
had
isn't
a
it?
couple big interceptions. I know one against the Chiefs, 2 against the Dolphins. He makes plays, and people, they always get upset with him because they say he's handsy and he gets called. What I mean, we saw a lot of handsiness on the Rams game, and you see this with other corners. It's not just him. I mean, he plays aggressive and he makes plays. And so apparently he's fallen out of good grace. What's the word? It's fallen out of good grace with the
Yeah.
Bills.
Good
Am I saying
graces.
that right?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
graces, yeah. And it's sad to see, but I mean, is Ingram that good that he would start over Elam from what you saw from Elam? We haven't seen a lot from Ingram, but you know these guys. So talk to me a
Yeah.
little
I
bit about
mean,
that.
the crazy thing is, Kyrie Elam's. I mean, he started earlier this year, right, in place of Christian Benford. So it's very bizarre. I don't know if it's just a lack of effort and practice because we don't really know what goes
We
on behind
don't.
closed
Yeah.
doors too, and maybe that's what it is because McDermott likes to see that effort, right? So maybe it is. I don't know if it's a lack of preparation. The thing is, every time he's interviewed, he just says, "I just continue to stay ready." So you
Yep.
want to take his word for it, but maybe he's saying one thing and doing the other because that's my only explanation. Otherwise, I feel like talent-wise, he's not that far off from all of our other corners. I mean, he has the ability to play and start in this league. This is supposed to be his year where he broke out, his third year. I likened
Yeah.
him to Jimmy Smith, former Ravens cornerback, who didn't really blossom until his third year. He's a former first round pick, too, and had an 11-year career with the Ravens. I was hoping that's Kyrie Elam, but it's not. And I don't know. I have no answers for it. It's very sad. I love Jamarcus Ingram, but no way in hell should an undrafted corner, who came from a small school like that, be starting over a first round pick who you put your money on and felt like he was the best option at the time back in 2022 now, right? So this is his third season. It's absolutely crazy to me. He's just been a weekly inactive basically, and
Yeah. For the
I,
last
I
two
have no
weeks.
answers.
The only
Yeah,
thing I can think of, Jake, and it's silly to me because you got enough special teams players. I know they're big on special teams, and Ingram plays special teams. Like,
yeah.
is it? And for instance, so
Maybe it is that simple.
Matt Perino said, Elam after practice was out there for an additional hour with Benford. So they're working
Yeah.
together. He's putting in the time, and maybe it is special teams, but to me, that's silly as well. Like, I don't know. Elam, we need you to play special teams now. Unless he says absolutely not, I mean that this guy should be active every Sunday and be that depth piece at corner. Because right now we've been pretty lucky this year. They've been pretty healthy. They've been pretty good, very good actually, till this past game. But we know from last year. I mean, it's just a matter of, and in a couple plays, we could be down 2 cornerbacks. Benford's been injured in the past. Russell Douglas as well. I don't know. I was shocked about that, but in any case, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but
I will
um,
say this too. I
yeah,
didn't mean any disrespect to Jamarcus Ingram. I will say I think
yeah,
versatility wise,
yeah,
he is a much better player. I mean, he could play outside, he could play inside even, and
yeah,
the fact that he plays specials, he's done some really nice things for us this year. I mean, you go back to that Miami game, he had a pick six in that game. So, I mean, obviously there's a reason why they value him over Kyrie Elam, and I totally understand that. But I'm just saying when you compare the two,
yeah,
on paper, Kyrie Elam should be the better player, and he's just not that guy. He hasn't really gotten that opportunity for whatever reason. Maybe it is the fact that he just isn't that versatile, and he really is a man corner, traditionally. So yeah, there could be a litter of reasons for it.
Jake, you know what I need? You know what I need?
What's that?
I need everyone that's in the channel to smash that like button right
Hell
now.
yeah.
Just take a second. It's free. Helps us out. And if you're new to the channel, first time seeing us, drop a nickel on that subscribe button. You don't really have to drop a nickel. You can, but it's still yours. It's free. Help us out. Goes a long way. We're trying to get to 2,000. We're hanging right around close to 1,900, Jake. We can get
Man.
there. We get to 2,000. We need everyone to help us out. So please share the podcast as well. Appreciate it. Yeah, so we'll see what goes with Elam, but I feel like his days are numbered here, and rightfully so. And let the kid go. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to go somewhere else and become a star, and we're going to be like, "What the hell?" Just our luck, right?
I hate it.
Yeah. So let's see here. Weston. Yeah, the Lions are so scary. They have so many weapons. I'm so glad we don't have to play them. Jake, if you had to say who's the best team in the NFL right now, would you say it's Detroit?
Absolutely. Hands down. They're an absolute wagon. They're 12-1. No disrespect to your Chiefs, Weston, but I think the Lions are a better team than the Kansas City Chiefs are right now. So, and I think they're better than the Eagles. So, yeah, absolutely. They're the best team in the NFL.
Yep. Well, I will say this again. I don't want to upset any Chiefs fans, but I'm making the call right now. I'm going to upset my friends out there. I don't think the Chiefs get to the three-peat. I don't think they get to the bowl. They're going to have to go through Baltimore and Buffalo. And based on how they're playing now, Weston always likes to say, he says this all the time, maybe Go KU's going to agree with them. There's like, oh, we're just holding back. We're holding back. We're winning. We're just winning.
It could be.
A win's a win, Jake. We know that. A win's a win. I don't
Yeah.
care if you win ugly. And they're holding back. And then when the playoffs come along, they flip the switch. They did it last year. And I don't know. It wasn't as drastic last year. They weren't playing to this level where almost every game is like a nail biter, right? It's like there's at least two other losses that they should have, and then just things happen. The NFL script is real, Jake. It's real. I'm just saying.
No, it's not real, Mike. You know what? I refuse to believe it. I know a lot of people are out there saying there's definitely a script. Just can't bring myself to believe it.
I know you're a huge conspiracy theorist.
I am a conspiracy theorist.
If anything, I'd expect you to be on this train as far as the NFL scripted.
I'm in denial. That's really what it is. Yeah.
All right, Weston's saying he's got what? Lions, Eagles, Vikings, Chiefs, Bills. That's how he's ranking them right now.
Interesting. And, okay.
Yeah, the Vikings are interesting. That is a good spot for them, I think. Could argue the Chiefs might be there. We'll see. So it's interesting with Sam Darnold, man, making the rebirth of Sam Darnold this year, dude.
It's crazy. The Vikings are literally the quietest 11-2 team I think I've ever seen, and it's only because the Lions are that good. The AFC or the NFC North in general is loaded. I mean, the Packers are 9-4, Vikings 11-2, and then you got the Lions at 12-1. But the Vikings are creeping up right behind them. I mean, the Bills get a win this week. That makes that interesting a lot more. That makes that division a lot more interesting moving forward.
So, Jake, I think the only way we have a shot at the number one seed, the Chiefs still have some tough games. I know they have Denver, who had a blocked field goal to lose that game. Play Denver, and they play a couple other tough teams. The only way we're going to win the one seed, we got to win out. Now, we have 3 games, and I don't want to say any team's easy, but our schedule is light at the end of the year. We got the Patriots twice. We go Patriots, Jets, Patriots. The beautiful thing. Beautiful teams to finish with if you're in the hunt for the top seed. But if you don't win this week, you're fighting the Steelers now for the number 2 seed. And I definitely don't want to lose the number 2 seed. If the Steelers were to win and we lose, now they're in the number 2 spot. So it's going to be big game for us, obviously, and then just win out. That's the only chance we have.
It really is.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yes, Buffalo, Detroit Super Bowl. Big L. How beautiful would that be? 2 teams that just haven't gotten that ring, right?
You call that one the Ralph Wilson Bowl because Ralph Wilson, very close ties, obviously, to Detroit. There's a reason why the Bills always play the games that get moved from Buffalo due to massive amounts of snow in Detroit. There's a very good relationship there. I think it'd be a fantastic Super Bowl, obviously, just because of the fan bases. I think just seeing these Lions fans finally get some positivity in that building and just consistency, it's something they haven't had in a lot of years. So I think that'd be a fantastic Super Bowl. Would love to see it.
Yeah. I mean, two blue collar towns, cities, and I'll tell you what. If we were to go to Super Bowl, and if we were to lose, it would feel a lot better to lose
If
to
there's
a
any
team
other
like
team,
Detroit,
right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Go KU one. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for bringing that up. I knew you had some tough games. You got Pittsburgh, Denver, even Houston at home. So again,
That's
there's
true.
still an opportunity, but we got to win out, and it starts this week with Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm
By the
really
way, I do got to
yeah.
ask. I got to ask these
Yeah.
Chiefs fans, how'd you guys feel about that doink kick at the end? I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, like, are you kidding me? Of course, right? But you guys had to have been like, wow, that's just hilarious. You got to laugh at this point, right?
You do. You do.
Yeah.
It's like, you saw it going left. It's going to doink, right? You know it's going to hit. It looks like it's going to hit. And it's like, it's just a matter of, is it going to bounce inside and over, or is it going to just come straight back? Nope. It's the Chiefs, man. It's going to go right over, win the
Of
game.
course. Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how many fans travel now. Detroit's not that far. I know a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans out here that are Bills fans. So, they did represent the stadium really nice. They showed up here in LA. But it's a shorter trip to Detroit. And so we'll
That's true.
see how many. I mean, Detroit loves their team. We'll see how many tickets are available for the Bills Mafia. But I would expect it's going to be interesting because they both kind of wear blue
Mhm.
when they're home. So you'll see a lot of blue in that stadium. But what do you think? We gonna represent well?
I think so. I mean, absolutely. We always do. It doesn't matter where we go. Now, it may be a little bit more difficult because I feel like the Lions fans, for as much misery as they've been through, they are showing up to these games,
Yeah.
and they've been selling them out. So to me, you may not see as many, but we're definitely going to represent. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We will win the tailgate too. Ain't no doubt about it. We will win that tailgate.
I just, with no weather a concern other than outside the building, you got the nice dome there. I just don't see how this game is not over 55 points easily between the two
Yeah, I agree.
teams.
Hammer the
Right?
over. Absolutely hammer the over. Yeah.
Detroit, Rock City, packs the house. Detroit packs the house pretty good, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, on the doink, I was just like, it's over finally. I turned the TV off immediately.
It's crazy, man. It doesn't matter who's kicking. Harrison Butker, Spencer Schrader, Matthew Wright. You could throw anyone in there, and you guys will be just fine.
Mike
Sage,
Sage
35-33 Lion. I could see
coming
that.
in.
I could see it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want that, but I can certainly see that.
I'm
Yeah.
going to flip it. I'm going to use Mike because I'm Mike as well, but I'm going to flip it. 35-33 Bills.
I like that.
We'll go with that. Let's see here. All right. Well, Jake, I mean, it's a game that I've been circled on my calendar all year. There's a couple teams, right? I always circle the Chiefs game, of course. Got it. Just circle that one. I circled the Detroit when I looked at the schedule this year. So this is really, Jake, to me, win or lose, we better show up and play a tough game. If we get blown out, Jake, I hate to say it, but we're probably going to be disappointed again and have our hearts broken in the playoffs. If
No,
we
I hate
show
that.
if we show up and this defense, I have no doubt that the offense can stay with this team. I do, based on what I saw last week, based on the fact that Kincaid and Coleman are coming back, more weapons. We can stay with anyone on the scoring side of things. Can we get a couple stops? Can we get a couple stops? And heaven forbid, like
That's
I
really
said,
what it
if
is.
this game is, if they blow us out, Jake, I don't know what to think. Would be 2 weeks in a row where our defense lets us down potentially. I don't know. What's your take? What are you looking? Obviously, you want to win, and obviously, if you lose, I think you said you're not one of those guys who likes it. But if you lose, want it to be a close loss, right? You want to represent the fact that you can beat them. You were that close.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's why I'm not too concerned with the Rams loss. Obviously, the defense had a bad day and we couldn't get those stops. But when you look at their weapons, it's like, okay, they made some really good plays and we're a couple fourth down conversions and a timeout from winning that game. And a block punt. Really, it came down to that block punt. So special teams needs to tighten up. I think that is something. If there's any concern, special teams, they have been an inconsistent unit this entire year. I guess consistent in the fact that they've been bad. There's some weeks where it's like, hey, we should take one or two to the house, but it gets called back to a holding. But overall, I think out of all the units on this Buffalo Bills team, special teams hasn't been great. Has
Jake,
not been great.
did you call Reed Ferguson? I know you
No,
got a
listen,
direct
that's my
number to
boy. I
him,
love Reed.
and he
I
got
know.
blown up on that play. I mean, you got to talk to him about that. That cannot happen. Like, what the
It's
heck?
terrible. Yeah.
I mean, but honestly, I mean, it's been a long time since something like that, has happened to the Bills and special teams. But dude, talk about bad timing there. Weston says, all I will say is we played the Lions there a couple times in Detroit, and even Brady and the Patriots played there, and weird stuff happens.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. Last time we played in Detroit, it was on Thanksgiving, I believe. And it was Josh Allen and Steph Diggs. They hooked up. They linked up for a couple of great catches towards the end of the game there. And we ended up winning on was it a game-winning field goal, I believe? Something like that.
Weston says Lions, Bills, and Eagles, Steelers this weekend. And yeah, the one thing about, if we were to lose this game, I still have good high hopes that we'll get the numbers 2 seed. If we were to lose, I'm predicting the 35-33 win. But if we were to lose, Steelers have a very difficult remaining schedule. They play Baltimore, they play the Eagles, they play the Chiefs. I don't know who else, but just those 3 teams alone are extremely difficult, and they could come away with losses on all 3 of those.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I think last week, one thing that there wasn't a whole lot of was the run game for the Bills specifically. And that's okay because we were playing from behind, so you don't expect that. But I think you get James Cook going a little bit, almost do what the Rams did against the Bills and control the clock, because the time of possession was insane when you look at the Rams game last week.
Yeah.
So maybe you almost flip the script and do the same thing to the Lions this week, score a lot of points. Obviously, they're going to still score some points, but try to control the football a little bit, get that run game established, and throw all over them too. Do both.
Yeah,
but I would like to see an improvement on that
sustained
side.
Drives, Jake, is what I'm hearing, and a lot of time-consuming drives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep the ball as much away from that offense as much as possible, and then hope your defense can get at least 2 stops. 2 stops, Jake. What are you calling? 2 stops, we win this game?
I think 2 stops and a turnover. How about that?
2 stops and turnover, okay.
So 3 stops, yes.
All right, turnover would be huge for sure. I'm not too worried, Weston says, for the Bills after the Rams game. The Chiefs lost to the 4-12 Colts 2 years ago. It happens. Yeah, we lost to the Patriots last year.
Yeah.
Lions do have a great special teams, though. Yeah, talk about.
Oh gosh, they have one of the best punters in the NFL, Jack Fox, an absolute stud. And then you got Jake Bates, one of the best kickers in the NFL, a UFL guy / XFL, and you just love to see it, man. I mean, yeah, they absolutely have. They have a long lineage of good special teamers. You date back to Jason Hansen, one of the better kickers of the 90s and 2000s in the Lions Ring of Honor. Fantastic kicker for them. So I've always felt like they've had very good special teams in general. But yeah, you're absolutely right, D-Dunk. They do. Very good special teams. And Khalif Raymond, really, really dangerous returner.
Yeah, so Jake, I don't know if you noticed, but last week, because the win wasn't really a factor. Actually, it wasn't a factor in SoFi. Of course, it wasn't. They're not a dome, but there was no win. But I did see a lot of kickoffs going into the landing zone. Looked like it was intentional. Like, for instance, I think when we kicked off, I forget, there was one play where I was expecting them to kick it out of the end zone, give them at the 30, kicked in the land zone and let them return it. And they actually had a good return to the 40. And then I even saw, I don't know if it was our game, but somebody didn't hit the landing zone. But anyway, what I'm getting to, I saw more plays in the landing zone versus just kicking it out of the end zone and letting them take it at the 30. Did you notice that?
I did see that. Yeah, I noticed that as well. Absolutely. And by the way, I was just looking too, because I didn't recall seeing Khalif Raymond in the last game. He is on IR. So yeah, that's one less person we have to worry about. I believe right now, who is it? Maurice Alexander, Khalil Dorsey, something like that. I think those are their other return guys, but that is huge. So that's a guy that will not be playing against us because he's on IR. Enormous.
It's okay. Weston, I kind of mentioned that Steelers have to play Baltimore as well. So yeah, they have a very tough schedule, 100%. Best thing for KC and Buffalo is that Cincinnati won't be in the playoffs. Go KU1. And yeah, you want to talk about a guy who could, I mean, a team that is their defense is just let them down. Joe Burrow just lighting it up. Jamar Chase
Oh yeah.
killing people in fantasy football. Both of those two guys are, yet they have a losing record, Jake. It's just incredible to me because
Yep.
they got, Spags is the best defensive coordinator in the game, but who's the guy over for Cincinnati? He's one of the best as well. So I'm not
Lou
sure what's
Anarumo.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? That defense has been a little disappointing this year.
yeah.
Just letting up a ton of points, and the offense has been absolutely clicking on all cylinders. It's almost like the Bills last week, right? I mean, 42 points should be enough points to win you a game. That's how the Bengals have been all year. So I cannot even imagine dealing with that. But yeah, Lou Anarumo, definitely one of the better DCs in the game. They just haven't really been able to get it done this year. So it is a good thing. I agree. Absolutely. Go
What do
KU.
you think about what Big L's saying? He's saying the Bills on the first play from scrimmage have Cook
Yeah.
go up the middle every time. We used to give OJ the ball like that, and every team knew exactly what we were running. So, he's saying we're doing this and we got to stop, or is he saying do this even though they know that we're bringing it?
He's saying not to do it because it is very predictable. I agree. I mean,
Okay.
they do run that same play on first down quite often. Now, I will say this: usually the first 20 plays of the game, they are scripted. So going into that, very rarely are you going to change what that play is. Hopefully, they do something like that. I would like to see that, Dad. I mean, get to the outside, use some of the athleticism on the outside to, do some outside zone running and get James the ball outside the 9. Right? I think that'd be great to see.
Yeah, Cookie's outside, man. He's got the wheels to take it to the house. We saw that a few weeks ago against the Niners, right? So,
yeah,
and that was in the snow. So, Jake, I mean, that kind of wraps it up for us on this potential Super Bowl preview. Could happen.
oh, man,
100% it could happen.
Yeah.
But obviously, it starts here, and then this will determine. To me, again, this is going to be this. This is going to either give me lots of hope for a Super Bowl run, or pretty much be like, no, we gotta stay with this team, Jake. Gotta stay with this team.
I think no matter what, it's going to be a statement game.
Yeah.
Even if it is a loss, like you said, Mike, it's got to be a close loss. We can't be getting blown out, especially at this time of the year, especially coming off another loss. You hate to see them go down back-to-back losses. If it is a loss, indeed, I hope it is a close one. I had the Bills losing this one on my predictor on the prediction schedule that we did before the beginning of the year. But
you had them beating the Rams, I'm sure. So
I did.
Some saying that was a trap game, and even if it wasn't, the Bills, McDermott lit into them. They had to light into this defense and Babbage, and basically they're going to want to come out proving something. So I guess maybe it's better that they're coming in with a loss because they got something to prove. We're not that defense that looked that bad. We're going to show you. And of course, the offense is going to be able to go toe to toe. I feel like our offense can go toe to toe with anybody. We have an elite line, and when you have an elite O line, you saw it. I mean, Josh had all kinds of time. Both teams did in that game. He had and that was the best, supposedly, the best pressure team in the NFL. They kept saying it a couple times on the broadcast. I'll take their word for it.
I will too. Yeah, I will say this. I think our offensive line is the top 3 O-line in football right now.
Yeah, it is.
And I think coming into the season, that was the biggest question mark as far as position groups go. That and receiver, of course. But people were concerned about the O-line. I mean, we're better than we were last year.
And don't forget our special player, Mac Hollins. Don't forget our ace in the hole. Mac, I don't wear shoes. I mean, I'm sure you all saw it a couple of weeks ago. He walks, and first of all, he has some crazy outfit, but he's walking barefoot in the snow, Jake. Have you ever tried that, my friend?
I've tried it. It's not fun. I don't know how he does. I mean, he claims to be more grounded with the earth, but I'm not even doing that. I'm from Buffalo, so hell no. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But you know what? He's been a real gem, and I hope we re-sign him. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I hope we bring him back because not only is just a great team member, a rah-rah guy, but he does all the things wide receivers don't like to do. He gets in there, he's blocking, and they reward him. He doesn't get a lot of catches, a lot of targets, but they're meaningful targets. And surprisingly to me, Jake, he gets open deep somehow. I don't know if they're just underestimating him, But man, Josh almost hit him again. If Josh had seen that deep throw to him earlier, just a slight second earlier, he probably hit smack for a touchdown.
Oh,
And I
for
think,
sure.
and then there was another one earlier in the season in one of the games where Mac was wide open and he completely overthrew him. But surprises me that he's been getting so open, and I believe he's our top scorer, top touchdown guy, right? He's the top touchdown
I
receiving
think that
guy
is
we
right.
have.
Yeah, I think that's
Crazy,
right. Yeah,
crazy.
it is. I mean, not something you would expect coming into this year, right? Yeah, it's pretty wild. What does he have? 5 touch yeah, 5 touchdowns this year. That's wild. That is absolutely insane. You love to see it. Like you said, they're all meaningful targets. He has 23 catches, 5 of those are for touchdowns, and then I would guarantee probably at least 15 of those are for first downs, at least.
Yeah. Just love the guy. I mean, we were complaining earlier in the season when we lost those two games against the Texans and Baltimore. Like, why is Matt Collins our number one receiver? Because we were going to him quite often. It's like, how is he our number one guy? And we are losing. But you look
Right.
back at that now and you're like, that was silly. This guy, he does all that he needs to do, and we're not targeting him. We're targeting him just enough when we need to play. Josh trusts this guy. Jake, if you and I are on the same team, and you catch everything, you're doing everything necessary, and I'm the quarterback, I'm looking your way all the time, man. I'm looking. Where's Jake? I mean,
I love that.
I'm looking for Shakir, but my man Jake, I trust him. All right, Jake's open. I'm throwing to you, man. Anyhow, it's been a beautiful thing to see. Let's see here. Funny story. What do you think about Belichick coaching 18 to 19 years old now?
It's going to be very interesting. I think his dad was like an assistant coach for UNC I mean, this is many, many moons ago. I think there is some affiliation there. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, it's so first off, he did write like a 400-page manifesto explaining what he wants to happen. Basically, that he's going to have his own recruiting staff go out and recruit these players because he doesn't want really any part with that. He just wants to coach and basically pitch it as a place that is going to prepare you for the NFL, which is interesting because UNC, I mean, decent football school, better for basketball, right? They've built some things there. They've had a few first round picks, even in recent years, specifically at the quarterback position. You talk about Mitchell Trubisky, our backup quarterback was a first round pick, second overall out of UNC, which is wild. But yeah, I'm along for the ride. I think it's going to be fun. I think he did write something in that manifesto too that would guarantee his son, Steve Belichick, to be the head coach once he left. So there are some caveats with it, but yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. There's no doubt. Could you picture him though in a living room with a recruit trying to like say, hey, come to UNC with his enthusiasm or lack thereof, right? But I mean, he's a great football coach, so let's see what he can do. They go from Mac Brown to now Bill Belichick.
So, first of all, I didn't hear he was hired as a coach. Who's he hired for? Who's his name?
North Carolina. North
Okay.
Carolina.
All
I
right.
don't know if it's
Interesting.
official yet, though. I think it's just been it's almost official. I don't know if it's official.
All
Yeah.
right. Jake, I have one last question for you. Who's the top power couple in the NFL? Josh Allen, Haley
Ooh.
Steinfeld, or Travis Kelsey, Taylor Swift? Who's that power couple, or is there another power couple that's out there? It used to be Brady and his beautiful,
Yeah.
what was her name? Top model out there,
Giselle Bundchen.
Giselle,
Yeah.
right? They're no longer a thing.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I feel like one of these two are the power couples right now.
I
Who
gotta
is
say,
it?
it's got to be Josh and Haley right now, just because they just recently got engaged. I think it was her 28th birthday yesterday or today,
Okay.
but I saw Josh post on his story. It's a picture of her, and he's got like a little glass of champagne. They're sitting on like some nice beach or something. I don't know. It had to have been from probably not here in Buffalo right now, but he said forever and then some,
Well,
something
they've
like that.
taken, so I have to agree with you. They've taken the next step,
They
right?
have.
They're engaged.
Yep.
Where Travis, Taylor, not quite yet. By the way, you're a
Yep.
big conspiracy theory guy.
Hmm.
One of the conspiracy theories out there is that Taylor Swift is working with the NFL.
Oh, I've heard it. Yeah, I mean, I was a firm believer in that actually when it first started. Now I'm kind of like maybe it is real. I don't know.
Uh, Let's see. Weston says, "Man, I don't know the whole Taylor Swift thing." I'm kind of like, okay, cool now. Laugh out
Yeah,
loud.
it's kind of died down a little bit, right? I haven't
Yeah.
heard as much about it at least, but haven't watched as many Chiefs games this year either. So
Did
yeah.
you see the Manning show where they had Belichick on there, and it was they were watching the Chiefs game, and
Oh, and they asked him.
they pan out. No, they pan the Taylor Swift, and he's like he
Yeah,
just it's just
yeah, it's great.
and
Yeah,
the Manning brothers are just cracking up about it. Um,
it's hilarious.
it was also funny. I saw those. I don't know. I don't watch them, but I see them on social media sometimes. Some of the clips from the show.
Yep.
They had Chris Collinsworth on recently, and they were showing him. What was Manny, the younger Manny, not Peyton, but the other guy. What's his name? Who's the other
Oh,
Manny?
Eli. Eli.
Eli. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eli, he was talking about Eli, like, and it was I forget what game it was, but he basically said Eli wasn't athletic, and Chris Collinsworth, it was years ago when he said this, but Collinsworth's just busting up, and like, Chris, saying I'm not athletic, seriously? Come on now, I won 2 Super
That's
Bowls.
hilarious.
And
Yeah.
guess who I beat in those 2 Super Bowls? That's still insane to me that they beat Tom Brady
Oh, it's
twice,
ridiculous.
ruined
Yeah.
the perfect season, beat the GOAT twice. To be able to say that, it's crazy to me. Crazy.
That's going to be his one-way ticket to the Hall of Fame.
Right? Has to.
That's what's going to get him in. Yep.
Oh boy, check review. I heard a couple DCs say the same thing about Cam Lewis, that when they see a receiver covered by him, they are always open.
I just don't see it. Trek, you definitely
Trek.
have some personal beef with Cam Lewis, because I'll tell you what, I think he has played very well this year. When he's been called upon, he's done
Oh yeah,
a pretty good job. I don't know.
He's one of the best tacklers we have. He's he's always making plays, special teams. You see him all over the place. So
Oh yeah.
love what he's done. Glad we kept him. Trek review, and I know, secretly, you're a fan.
Oh yeah, he's got to be. He's got to be his biggest fan, I think. I love that, Weston. I would love to do it someday, man. That'd be fun.
So Weston, so I've never been really into conspiracy theories, but I don't know if you caught a good friend Tony. We started doing this Rank This show, and now we're working on it with 2 other females actually that are big into conspiracy theories. So we're all coming up with our top 5 most realistic conspiracy theories. So I hope you watch that show. It's going to be funny.
Baby.
And we're going to get into it. Each one of us, so the 4 of us, each one takes ours that we're going to represent, and then we all agree on what we think is the most. And again, these are most believable. There's some crazy ones out there, Jake. I mean, I don't know. Katy Perry is John Benet Ramsey. I know. I mean,
I love that
are
one.
you a believer of that one?
I don't know. Maybe she might just be a robot though, too. I've seen that before, because there was like a video of her with her eye where it was like kind of malfunctioning, but there were some women that commented like, "You've clearly never had fake eyelashes," or something like that, because the eyelashes just got stuck. So I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot out
funny.
there.
What is your? I think I asked you. I don't know if I got an answer. Is there a number one conspiracy theory that you are a big believer of it? A big believer. Like, this is real, man. I fully support this one.
Well, I agree with Weston. I think JFK, that was definitely an inside job. There ain't no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
I'm 100% with you on that. So I'll go with that one. I think it's universally almost recognized as like, hey, maybe that's, maybe there's some more to that.
Oh yeah. We'll see if that makes our top 5. It might be just so like obvious that we might not put it on the top 5 because it is real. It's not realistic.
Right.
It is real.
Yeah.
Check reviewer says Cam will be
the
with
Panthers?
the Panthers next year. I'll tell you what,
Oh.
Panthers playing some good ball. Why wouldn't they want a good player like Cam Lewis?
Yeah, it didn't really work out for our boy. Goodness, I can't think of from Pitt. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Our other corner. He was with us.
Levi?
No, not Levi Wallace.
What position did he play?
He was a corner. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
From Pitt?
Yeah, he's a Pitt guy. Hold on. I got it. Just give me 1 second, Mike. I will think of it. Think of it.
Well, everyone, let's see.
Dane Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Dane Jackson. Yeah.
So drop your scores. Like, Jake, let's get into it. Give me your prediction. I already said 35-33. I flipped it from who was the gentleman that said that?
Mike Sage. Or Mike
Yeah,
Sard.
Sage. He said
Yeah.
35, 33. Lions, I'm flipping it for the Bills. What you got? What you got?
I'm gonna say 30-27 Bills.
Bills. Okay.
And I know that's probably low scoring. That's a low scoring prediction, but I'm gonna say
Did
30-27.
we ever find out what the over was?
Yes. 54.5.
Okay. So you
So,
said
and
30,
the Lions,
27. So we're covering the over with that
yep.
easily.
And the Lions are 2.5-point favorites right now as of today.
Okay. Vegas knows their stuff. If they're saying it's a 2-point game, I think it's going to be extremely. I think it's going to be close, like we've been saying all night. Norman, we bringing Norman
Oh,
back.
Josh Norman. Yeah,
I
that's
hope
funny.
I love this one. Conspiracy theory.
Ooh.
Josh Allen is John Elway's son.
Tell you what, I think Josh is a more athletic version of John Elway. I love that. A lot of
Mm,
people comped him to John Elway.
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's been
So,
compared to him
is
quite a
there
few
some
times.
ties there? Go KU one that you have some ties that you can.
I mean, he was a
actually make
Bronco
this
in
a
another
team?
light, but he was a Wyoming,
Okay.
or it was a Cowboy. Wyoming Cowboys. I'm sorry, close to a Bronco.
I actually interviewed at a place that's one of the centers of conspiracies, the NSA Wild Experience. NSA.
Interesting.
What does the NSA stand for? What is it? What is it,
Weston,
Weston?
help us out here. Yeah,
Yeah, NSA. What's the NSA?
but I love it.
If you're going to say NASA, then we're really talking because we got
Ooh,
some
moon landing
seriously conspiracy theories there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I can't wait for the show. Just a fun show. It's just something to get your mind off football for just
Look
a little bit. What do you say?
at Go KU. He's definitely hammering the over on this one. 72-68, but he's saying Lions win.
Come on, go KU. Can't you give us the win there? Come on. Come on.
If it really is, that would be absolutely
Would that be nuts? Oh my
yeah.
God.
I mean that's a repeat of the Rams Lions, or I'm sorry, the Rams Chiefs from 2018 or 2019, but even higher scoring.
National Security Agency.
Oh, Edward
Okay.
Snowden. Interesting. Okay.
I'm gonna look them up a little bit. Do a little research.
Yeah.
And then check review. But Josh was
Yeah.
never drafted by the Yankees. What's this about?
Josh could hit dingers though. John Elway drafted by the Yankees.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
All right,
Baseball
Terry.
player.
What's going on? Who's that coming into my room here? Looks like Jonah's looking for me. So
That means time's up.
I think we went over. I always give Jake a time. Like we're gonna try to hit it at 35 minutes, 40 minutes. We know it's never gonna be a real thing. We talk to you guys, get into it, have a lot of fun. Bill's Bunker. By the way, a little disappointed in you, Jake Barco. You didn't tell me you were coming out to California. I don't know when you got there. You could have told me. I would have probably tried to plan something to meet up with you. But I saw your post game. Your reactions, great job as always, fantastic. You do an amazing job, and this year, man, you've been living the life, going all over the place to see the Bills, going to Bills games, traveling the country. I know he's been in Detroit. I'm sorry, not Detroit. He was out here in LA. I know he's been to a few other away games. I'm curious, are you going to Detroit, Jake? You going to Detroit? I would hope so.
I mean, Canada, where he's at, he's in Toronto. He's outside of Toronto. That's not that far. Yeah. He's got to be going. I think he said he was. I'm pretty sure. Jake, it's been a pleasure, brother. Listen, I'm upset that we didn't meet up for that Chiefs game. And then the one time that we did, it was at the home opener, and he interviewed me, Mike, and the audio cut out. But he had asked me who my least favorite Bills player was. And I had a hard time with that one, but I ended up saying Co Simpson. A lot of people probably would say OJ Simpson. I said Co Simpson, former Lion, by the way, Co Simpson, Bill and Lion. And the only reason I said it was because he went to a dentist office nearby. This is only a rumor too. I don't know how true it is. The problem is he's a South Carolina guy. So I had an issue with this one, but I did say Co Simpson because supposedly he got mad at the dentist and they said, "Hey, I'm Co Simpson. I'm worth millions." That was the rumor. I don't know if it's true. I'm not looking to spread
conspiracy
rumors.
Theory.
Right?
Conspiracy
There
theory.
we go.
So Jake Barco, Bill's Bunker. If you haven't checked out his, I'm sure you've seen him. He does some great. His channel's great, but he does a lot of shorts out there as well. He travels to a lot of the games. His reaction videos are priceless. But yeah, awesome stuff there, Jake. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming out and saying hi. And then he said, let me see what he said. Chiefs fans' most hated teams, the Raiders. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So I've seen most of Jake's shorts that he goes out with, but I didn't see the one where he asked, who's your least favorite bill. I didn't see that one. Maybe that didn't make the cut. He says, thanks, man. LA was hectic. I'll be in Detroit. You better believe it. Oh, boy. All
Love it.
right. Awesome. Love that.
He's doing big
That's,
things.
yeah. That'd be one hell of a batting order. Josh Allen and Aaron Judge.
Holy
Aaron
smokes!
Judge,
Could you
man.
imagine?
You know, I'm a Yankee fan. That's my team.
Yeah.
Grew up
Yeah.
with them. And no bigger disappointment than what they did in the series this year. Just disrespectful to the Yankee brand altogether. And Aaron Judge, nowhere to be found in the World Series at all.
Yeah. It's tough.
And then Ron Santo was just signed a huge deal with the Mets. I'll tell you what, Jake,
Oh my gosh.
there's no
Insane.
loyalty in baseball anymore. It's like, who's going to pay me the most? I'm moving on.
He went across town. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy to the Mets. My goodness. So who knows what the Yankees will look like next year? I'm sure I think what was it? I heard something like the Dodgers have something like 940. I don't know. There's something in the billions of what they owe. I mean, these salary caps
So
that
much
there's
money.
no salary cap. The money that they're paying players is ridiculous. I think what did Santos get? 725 million or
Juan Soto, Mike. Juan Soto.
Soto, yeah. What did he get? What did he get?
It was what? 8
700
years?
plus, right?
Yeah, it was 750 million or something like
Yeah.
that. Let me get the actual figures real quick, and then we'll hop off. But
So I don't remember his name, but he's already gone for me. He left my Yankees. I don't really want to remember his name, but
no loyalty.
Big money, and that's the big thing in baseball. I was asking my dad, because my dad and I are just loyal fans of the old game, and we're like, I said, Dad, what's changed? Do you like the new game? Do you like the fact that they're, no starter can really go 9 innings anymore? We don't see that complete game happening much. Like they're pulling starters after 5 innings. Then they're bringing in guys that throw 90 plus every inning after that. And he said, I've adapted. I've liked it. The only thing I don't like is the loyalty. Doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah.
That was the biggest
Yeah, I
thing
mean,
for him.
even you go back to like Johnny Damon leaving the Red Sox to go play for the Yankees. It's like in the heat of that rivalry, when it was at its, I mean, I'm not saying it's not at its peak now, but in the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004, around there, when you do something like that, I mean, fans were pissed from both sides, Juan Soto, 15 years, $765 million contract, by far the largest pack in Major League Baseball history.
Well, I wonder how much of that is guaranteed, Jake. Does it say?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It can't be fully guaranteed.
Weston,
that would be wild.
Weston, he's dead to me now. He's dead to me. You leave the Yankees. I'm sure the Yankees were willing to pay you good money. Why? Why would you leave a team and go to the Mets? The Mets of all teams? Seriously?
Yeah, I know. Crosstown rivals. I was hoping for the Subway Series too in that World Series. Didn't happen, but
damn, I'd rather him go play for the Royals, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, huh?
Yeah, Weston, they have to put a salary cap in there. It's just ridiculous. Who has the most money? Let's see here. Let's get back to football a little bit. Bill's bunker. Few thoughts for Buffalo at Detroit. Worried about the defense against those weapons. We know Josh and offense will put up points. Lions wearing black jerseys. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That was on my
Those
thumbnail. I just randomly picked that. I did not know that they were wearing those. They are cool. And the fans will be electric. Yeah, Jake, I want to hear, like we were just talking about that. They both teams wear blue, although they're wearing black. But in the stands, we're gonna see how the Mafia travels to Detroit, and if they're able to get any tickets, because I'm sure Detroit fans aren't giving up those tickets easily. Especially,
I know Jake and fans of Buffalo. You guys are doing some good things. They'll be traveling. They'll be traveling. There's no doubt.
Maybe Cody Bellinger to the Yankees.
Oh, that would be something. Going from LA to New York, huh?
I wouldn't mind stealing some of those damn Dodgers. I mean, bring them over. Bring them over.
Yeah.
Hillers,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still got Vladdy though. Yep.
We can talk all sports. You guys hockey fans too? Our Sabres have just
oh my gosh, Sabres just lost 3-2. I know Bill's bunker. So he's from Toronto. He is a Leafs fan, unfortunately. He's not a Sabres fan, but he's a Bills fan, so that's okay, I guess.
How they doing? How they doing in the standings? I'll tell you what. What is it? I think the Sabres now are officially the longest drought for playoff hockey. And I think my dad texted me today. He's like, that's number 9. I don't know if it was 8 or 9, but we've lost 8 At least 8 in a row, Mr. Podger.
At
Terrible.
least we're scoring goals. I mean, that's the only positive from it, but it just, I mean, to give away games where you have a 2-goal lead. I know it's the toughest lead in hockey or whatever they call it, right? 2-goal
Yeah.
lead, but still, it's like, what? I mean, this is insane. Played the Rangers tough today. It was 3-2. It was pretty pitiful at first, but they played well, in the second period there. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. So
Yeah. So Jake, the other Jake, Bill's Bunker saying you hit the nail on the head. I'm heading down with fans of Buffalo, and we'll do our
very
best
nice.
to take over Motown.
Yeah. So by the way, fans of Buffalo, they do some really good stuff. I traveled with them for the Philly game last year, and it was awesome, Mike. I mean, we had a pregame. Everything was basically included, right? So your ticket, so you can get flights, or you can decide to drive down. So we didn't do the flights. That was the only thing we didn't do. So we did the pregame party, the tickets, the tailgate, and then the transportation to and from. It was awesome. I mean, just a fantastic time altogether. Pinto Ron is there for each of these. They have a lot of these Buffalo Bills personalities. I know Elvis and his daughter. They go to a lot of the games too, and it's just a great time. So they do a
This is
tremendous
some
job.
organization community. They call themselves the
Yeah,
Fans of Buffalo, and
that's
so
right.
they have
Yep.
travel packages and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of similar to what I think Chris was involved with. Chris
Yeah,
from our channel. He has a
yeah,
guy with the Ravens who does the same thing. But yeah, similar thing to that. Yep.
nice. Bellinger was born when his dad was a Yankee.
Oh,
That's
that's
crazy.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see here. Guys do a collab with the Buffalo Fanatics. You guys should do a collab with the Buffalo Fanatics.
That'd be cool.
They won't give us the time of day, Weston. They're too big for us, man. They're too big for us. We're not good enough.
I will say we're gonna try to get we'll try to get my cousin back on here, Nate. He does the post game show
Yeah,
for the Bills on
that'd be fun.
WGR. So we have some connections. A couple other things in the works too. I won't tell you guys too much, but we'll see what happens.
Oh
It'll be
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
We definitely got to do some more interviews in the off season. There ain't no doubt about that. We're
I
gonna
know.
get Cam Lewis on this show too, Trek. I'm just
That'd be
saying.
fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo Fanatics. I haven't checked them in a while. Subscribe there. It's your boy. It's your boy Rico. Yeah, I love Rico, and so I haven't caught
Yeah, they
him.
do
I'm
good
just so
work.
busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be great to do. It'd be great to do a podcast with the what do they call themselves? The Chiefs Arrowhead, right?
Oh
Was
yeah,
it
Arrowhead. Yeah, Arrowhead Fanatics, not
Arrowhead?
Fanatics.
Not Fanatics. I was subscribed to them for a
Yeah,
little bit. I
I
was
know.
trying to get
Yeah,
some inside
Arrowhead
information.
something. Yeah.
Arrowhead
Messed with it.
Addicts. Arrowhead Addicts. I
Arrowhead
want to say
Addicts. That's what
that's
it
what it
is.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Yep.
Zbot's got that. It's got a perfect voice for let's call it the smoke show, right?
Yep.
So he's got that perfect voice, like he's been smoking 6 packs a day for the last 20 years.
You gotta love it.
All right, man. Jake, it's been fun. We could just keep talking about all kinds of things, food, whatever, man.
It's hilarious because Mike and we talked before the show. Mike's like, you know what? I'm going to say something. 35 minutes. That's our target time. And I said, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. We didn't even get through our first segment within 30 minutes or whatever it was.
Hey, we got through our first segment pretty quick.
You're right. We did
didn't go
actually. This
too
time
deep.
we did. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just fun when we got the people out in the chat. We're only going live once a week these days. So got to catch up with everybody and get everything off our chest and just talk about some fun stuff. So what's ahead for us, Jake? We got we're trying to get the Saber Show back on board. The Ruthless
Christmas
Show.
Special.
What's that? Christmas special coming up on December 20th. You don't want to miss that. It's just going to be a fun family event. Yes, your kids can watch it. And make
this
sure
is a gimme.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got to do this again. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. We've had him on at least once, right? With us. Yeah, he was on once with us. For sure. Jake, you're always
that makes
welcome.
a lot more
He's
sense.
Just a
what do you
busy
think,
man.
Jake?
Yeah, he's just a busy man all the time. He's traveling all over. But yeah, would love to either be on your show or we'll have you on again, Jake. Especially maybe after Detroit. Maybe after visit Detroit. Come on and tell us about the experience and tell us about the LA experience. I'd love to hear it. But what'd you think about SoFi, Jake? It's beautiful. SoFi Stadium, top notch. You've been to a few. Has anything been better than SoFi as far as your experiences traveling to different stadiums? Jake, that's always been one of my goals. Like I say when I retire, that I want to go to see a game at every stadium. Now the Bills have to play there. I want to go see the Bills, but I want
Yeah.
to make it to as many stadiums as possible. One of my goals, one of my bucket list items.
I love that. Every stadium is different. Every stadium is unique. And is there a specific stadium that really comes to mind that you want, like you have to go to? Like, is there one that you're like, hey, this is the bucket list stadium?
Well, the bucket list is going to be the new Bill Stadium, but the ones that are out there now. So if I was one of them,
Yep.
I'm only like a drive for me. It's 4.5 hours if I drive to Vegas. I want to see one there in the UFO there up in Vegas. Again,
Oh yeah.
that's only if the Bills play there. I would love to go to the one in Atlanta and then the Dallas. You got to go see the Cowboy Stadium.
What about
You know,
Lambeau, Mike? Lambeau.
nah, it's too cold, Jake. I'll go there. I
That's
gotta
like,
go there, but dude,
oh, that's football
it
royalty.
is football royalty, but no, it's
Yeah.
not. I told you, man, I'm too old for those cold games, but I would go. I would go. I would do the whole experience, stay there the whole weekend,
Yeah.
eat a lot of cheese, and you go check out the game. Let's
Yeah, I
see
think
here.
I think Lambeau would be mine. You listen, I respect the ones you're saying there. Obviously, Dallas is huge. Everything's bigger in Dallas. But those are a little too ritzy for me. I don't know, Mike. That's like too.
Dude,
I don't
I
want to be
got
sitting in like, you know, I want to
before
I
their new
want some grit.
stadium where Roger Staubach played, I got to go on a tour of that stadium. I lost the pictures, but I got to go to the middle, right in the star, where guys like Roger Staubach played. Man,
Oh,
it
that's
was it
cool.
was incredible. But
Yeah.
yeah, their stadium, their new stadium, and not just to see the players, but dude, there's no better cheerleading squad in the game, and seeing their opening thunderstruck. Oh my God, dude, got to see that at least once in my life, right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Let's see here. For all of our experience, my favorite road game was Bills at Dolphins for the AFC title in 2023. For atmosphere outside of 7-6, I loved Lambeau. Okay. But what
That's
about the
cool. I love that take.
stadium, the actual stadium, Jake? I was at Arrowhead when the Chiefs beat Jim Kelly's
Ooh,
Bills 33-6. So was that?
wow. When
Uh,
was that?
it couldn't have been the 90s teams, right? I mean, maybe it was. Maybe it was towards the tail end of
We got to be
Jim's
talking
career.
Duron Cherry days, right? Go KU. Am I right on that? One of the
Yeah.
most underrated safeties, by the way, to ever play the game. I'm going to give you guys a shout out on that one. I was looking at his numbers the other day. The guy was a stud.
I should go to Notre Dame for a game.
I bet.
I'm not much of a college guy, but if you're telling me, maybe I would. Jake, you been there?
I have. It is awesome.
Is
Touchdown
it?
Jesus, the whole thing. It is really cool. Yeah, I went to a Notre Dame Wake Forest game. This is back when trying to think of who was playing quarterback for Wake Forest, but he threw for over 500 yards. It was crazy.
Woo.
Played in the NFL. Played with the Rams. I'll think of the name.
All
I'm
right.
drawing a blank on a lot of names today. I don't know why.
Yeah, Jake says SoFi is beautiful. This was my second time there. State of the art, no doubt. Just hard to navigate with the size. Yeah, I don't have many issues navigating, but the fact that it was a lot of Bills fans there was just it felt like more of a home game. I thought that would give us an advantage as well in this game. Um, I think you did hear the Bills fans get a little loud, but yeah, it's just beautiful. The surrounding landscape that they did around the immediate stadium is beautiful. Getting out if you're jumping on one of the buses to go back somewhere, that was the worst part. We ended up walking back to where we had parked. But yeah, and then they have I think I was telling you, Jake, they have the new Clipper Stadium that just got built. I forget what
Oh,
they
I
call
heard
it.
that you said that's beautiful, right?
I heard that thing's elite. Would love, Jonah. I got one of the things on that I want to do for Jonah. He's been to 4 football games. Hasn't been to a hockey game, gotta take him to one. He hasn't been to a basketball game, gotta take him to one. And he hasn't been to a baseball. We got all that out here. So I'm gonna be taking him to those 3, hopefully this year.
Trek, by the way, I remembered it was John Wolford, played for Wake Forest at the time, ends up playing with the Rams. Will Wolford's nephew, I believe, by the way, Mike,
Oh,
former
really?
Buffalo Bill. Yep.
Nice,
Fun
absolutely.
fact for you.
One of the best.
Chase Claypool, by the way, in that game had like 180 yards receiving. He went off with Notre Dame. He was so good in college. His rookie year in the NFL was sick. And of course, we thought this year, like maybe there's something left, but clearly not.
Yeah. Inglewood, always up to no good, Tupac. Let me just say this. There are areas not far from the stadium that you might be a little concerned walking. Just saying.
Hmm.
It's not it's Even where the Clippers used to play. I've been to that stadium. I forget it was down in LA where both the Clippers and the Lakers were playing. And dude, you walk like 2 blocks, and it's all the homeless folks are right there. So you got all this
Ooh,
great
yeah.
stuff, and then you walk just a little bit away, and you got homeless. And yeah, it's again, same thing at this stadium. You don't want to walk too far by yourself. You'd be in a little trouble.
Yeah.
But the stadium itself is gorgeous. The only I'm gonna say that the thing that takes it down a notch, Jake, it doesn't have air conditioning. And it gets hot
Ooh,
during the summer. You go into these games, you think it's a dome. It's not really a full dome. It's
yeah.
got air coming in. It's humid. If it's humid, it's going to be humid. There's nothing cooling you off. So that takes it down just a slight notch for me.
Yeah, not about that.
I've been to a UC football game.
Nice.
Man, I've been to. Are they still playing in the Coliseum, or
I
do they
believe
move?
so.
Okay,
I think they
I've
are.
been to the
Yeah.
Coliseum multiple times. I've been to the Coliseum to see the Bills play the Raiders. I've been to the Coliseum for a Bruce Springfield concert, and I've been to the Coliseum for a USC game, and it was pretty electric, I gotta say, because that stadium holds, I think, upwards of 100,000 people in the
Yeah, it's
Coliseum,
got to be something like that.
and
Yeah,
so
90 to 100.
it was pretty cool. So I did go there. Growing up, the only college team I liked when I was in Buffalo, for some reason, I liked the UCLA Bruins. And I don't know why. I think it was just the colors of the
The
team
colors.
or whatever. But I would like to go see them out here as well. They're all, both of them are about 2 hour drive for me. Not that far.
Eric Bieniemy just got fired as the OC from UCLA. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Shore Hotel by Santa Monica is where we stayed. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful area. Did you get to the pier where they have the amusement park rides and all that cool stuff? Yeah,
Cool.
that location is right by the pier, which is stunning. So did you get to go to the pier? Cool stuff. Good place to eat right there on the ocean, and they have amusement. They have rides there. It's very, very, very awesome, Jake.
I love it.
And then what does he say? Well, Jake,
You never
do you
know,
have another
man.
Bills game?
As of right now, no. I would like to get to a playoff game. I think that would be ideal. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll see.
Jake, if we have to travel to Baltimore, actually, I don't think that's going to happen now. We'll have the seat over Baltimore. You should go to that game, and Chris and Rick can
Oh,
join
yeah.
you. Remember, they always say you
Maybe
got to
they'll
come to
come here.
Baltimore, come to Buffalo, have them
Yeah.
join you, man. That would be electric. They're a
would be
good bunch of guys. Got to hang out with them one night down here in Temecula, in Old Town, and Rick lives out here. He's not far from me, but Chris is
Yeah.
back in Baltimore, and he had come out. Good guys, man. Good guys.
I love them both. Yeah.
How about
An A's game?
An A's game? No, I did not get to an Oakland A's game. When they're Oakland, that's pretty far from where I am right now. Did not make it there. Now they moved recently, right? Didn't they move? Where'd they move?
This was their last year, so they're going to be going to Vegas too, supposedly.
Okay, so in Vegas, there's a high probability that I would see a game there for sure. Like I said, I want to get to a Raider game, but I got to wait till the Bills come out. I'm not going to no damn Raider game. Weston, I'm not going to a Raider. I told you my story once, Jake. I went to it was at the Coliseum. I saw the Bills play there in preseason, and I saw the Bills play the Raiders in regular season. In preseason, I made the mistake. I'm wearing my Zumbas, right? And I'm all decked out. And it's halftime. I'm walking to the restroom. Those Raider fans were drunk already. And they can't, big dudes come up to me, threatening me. Your Bills suck. And I think that was the glory days of Kelly and that. Like, Buffalo sucks. What the hell you doing here? Get the. I mean, I was like, guys, it's here for preseason, man. Lighten up.
Yeah. Wow.
I said I got kicked off the Ferris wheel for hanging my. Did you really do that?
I haven't seen that video yet. I gotta watch that immediately. Yes.
Oh man, I keep joking. We're opening up my company, a company I work for. We're opening up a facility in Kansas City, and I've given them a hard time about that. I'm like, couldn't you have brought me into that conversation? I would have said travel a little bit further, east or west, but why Kansas City? Now I'm asking like. They're still building it out. I'm like, can I get a visit there and hang a few Bills flags over there? Can you imagine the new crew shows up and they walk into the warehouse and I got all these Bills flags hanging there, dude.
Yeah.
That the rebuttal to that is no, we don't want it burned down. Like, oh my
That's
god.
true.
All
That's
right.
true.
Bills Bunker
Yeah.
says I went to an A's game in Oakland. Unfortunate. Yeah, they moved.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
terrible. The owner sucks. Yeah. I will, brother. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
How
We'll
about
see.
this? I would love for you guys, it's high probability. We have to travel to KC. Okay.
Mm,
KC, meet up with Weston and Chad. It'll show you the best time for barbecues. Jake Barco can go with you. Come on now. That would be a
that would be
hell
pretty
of a
sick.
trip.
Yeah, it would. AFC Championship. Oh,
Oh man.
could it happen? Could happen. Yeah.
Could happen. Yeah, that would be stellar for you to get down there. Maybe we'll open up not a GoFundMe, but we'll start some type of
Get Jake to Kansas City.
get Jake to Kansas City. Yes, for sure. That'd be fun.
That would be awesome.
All right. Everybody good at your all the fam good, Jake?
Fam's doing great. Yeah, I mean, Christmas season's in full swing here. I got a ton of lights. I'm like Clark Griswold. I mean, I got all my Christmas trees. I got the Bills tree behind me there. Got another tree back there too. I don't know if you can see it. I got a couple other trees upstairs, lights outside. We're doing great, Mike. We're doing
Love
great.
it.
What about
Love it.
you? Life is
Yeah,
good?
family's doing great. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. Just absolutely love it. Looking forward to our holiday spectacular on Friday the 20th. And like I said, if you have kids, bring them. Santa Claus will be there, so
Oh yeah.
it'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. There you go.
There we go. Hey,
KC playoff game at Arrowhead has been on my mind. Not gonna lie.
let's talk about it. Yeah.
Weston, you gotta meet up with them. You gotta take them around town, show them the life, show them the barbecue that you're always talking about. That would be fantastic. Jake, we
Jake
gotta get you
barbecue.
there. Talk to Big Al, see if you can get a little bit of a loan from him, and then we'll work,
He'll probably come with me.
oh, even better.
Oh,
Even
he would
better.
definitely go with me.
I
Yeah.
was disappointed that you and Big L didn't make the trip to the West Coast.
No, he was
Hey,
looking. Trust me,
uh,
he was looking at tickets.
because that would be fantastic. You guys got to get out here. We play
I know it.
whether we play the Rams or the Chargers, same stadium. Got to come out here. And hell, even if you want, we got to go see the Raiders. The Bills play the Raiders in that stadium. So if you ever go there, I'll
That's
make the
cool.
trip. It'll be a fun time in Vegas.
I like it. Sounds good to me, Mike.
All right. Well, look at this. Hour and 36 minutes. I can keep going. I don't know. I'm energized today for some
It's
reason.
beautiful.
But I'm
Yeah.
going to let you go now, Jake. It's been a fun time. And thank you again, everyone out there in the channel. It means a lot to us that you join us and chat it up with us. And we got DL coming in late. He was just out there waiting. He's waiting for us to say we're
Go
about
Lions.
to end the show. And he's like, I'm going to pop in now. Go Lions. Go Lions. It's going to be a good one, DL. Going to be a good game.
The Ralph Wilson Bowl. That's what we're calling this one. Go Bills.
Ralph Wilson Bowl. So, yep. Go Bills. Have a great night, gents. Go Bills. Jake, always great. As always, fun to do our shows on Wednesday nights again. So we'll see you soon, guys. Take care.
Go Bills.
Bills 35. Lions 33. Go Bills.
Go Bills.